The following is for entertainment purposes only. We are not financial advisors. We are not responsible for any losses, only the profits.
What's going on, Octo family? We are taking a look at some chart heavy stuff, some macro charts. We're going to go over post pre election stuff that has happened with the stock market. What's happened in the past? Maybe we can learn something from. We're going to take a look together. First of all, I want to put out that there were some big earnings today, like Twitter. Twitter came out. They had an earnings per share of 19 cents. Their estimate was 6 cents. That's over 3x. Q3 revenue was 936 million versus 777 million estimate. They slammed it. They did awesome. Earnings alert, Amazon, their earnings per share ended up being $12.37. Their estimate was only $7.41. They whooped it. Q3, 96.15 billion versus the estimate of $92.7 billion. They did awesome. Jay, Liveversity on our YouTube channel and Twitter, Liveversity1507 on Twitter, said Amazon is doing awesome and so is Google on the earnings. But they're both tanking. All the tech earnings are crushing it, but still tanking. I think the Hulk smash is definitely coming very soon. Microsoft, same deal. You ready to dive into this? I deleted a bunch of crayon drawings and created some new ones. Just kind of starting over from scratch. I wanted to show what historically has happened during presidential election. I've heard a lot of people here and there saying, historically they always just slam down and that's what always happens. But it's like, dude, I'm going to put it on the chart. I'm going to put it on the chart and find out what slightly recently has happened, right? We're going to start all the way back to 2004 with Bush, the young Bush 2.0, his second term. What happened the week before? Let's call it like the 6 months before. You want to know what percent the SPY went down? It went down 6.12%. That's it. Right after he got in, what happened? It went up. It's called 8%. Okay. Nothing. I would say, yeah, 6 months leading up, people might think it's getting kind of weird, but not really. 6% over 6 months. How about Obama's first term? What happened there? Well, this one looks pretty funky. This one, there was some drama going on or something, right? So, long time leading up this, year leading up to this, we had a down of about 27%. After he got in, and well, not in, but fully elected, it was now known he was going to be the next president. How much does it go down? 77%. So this is something that we need to pay attention to. I think this was a pretty pivotal time here too, when we were going from Bush's second term to Obama's first. Things were kind of nuts then. I remember people had, even in the schools and stuff and college and all that, people had shirts that said bad words on them to Bush, and there was like all the crazy stuff that's going on now. It wasn't as crazy as it is now, but I'm just saying it was pretty aggressive, okay? You could tell people were angry and they wanted Obama in. At least that's when a lot of the drama started to get nationalized. Obama's second term, what happened? Nothing, dude. The 6 months before it kind of went up a little bit, like, okay, 11%. What happened after it became official? I don't even want to say anything happened. It literally just like flatlined until January. It started going up a little bit. How much? Like 3-4%? Nothing. About Trump's first run here. So leading up, we had these slightly dips before that. There was a slight dip right before. What are we talking about? Let's say from June, there's like a 3% dip in the SPY. However, after he was known to be the next president, what happened? It went up a little bit. We started on this grand 30-ish degree angle up. Went maybe, within a month it went like 4% up, but still nothing major. The only one that seemed major to me was after Bush's second term, right? After Bush's second term, a Republican second term, when people were like, we have had enough of the Republicans and we want the Democrats in, that's the only trend I can see happening. But I don't know. I mean, technically, with the new tax proposal that Biden has come out with, and Kamala Harris, these big companies that are in the S&P 500 should have about 9% less revenue if they get in and their new taxes get approved and all that. Does that ever affect stock prices? It will, probably slightly, because their earnings are going to be a little bit less. Just is what it is. But I don't know if that's really going to have the big effect on it. I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to me this time around, because I have personally never lived through a time where people are as angry as they are right now about stuff that's going on and how crazy everything is. It's pretty violent and nuts, right? Violence or nuts than I've ever seen. Way, way worse than when the Bush thing was happening. So I think it's going to be really interesting either way it goes. But we still have to pay attention to what's going on in the big picture and what's happened historically. Here's this big worldwide shutdown thing that happened. Obviously, we took a big dump. How big? Let's call it like 30%. It's big, right? And this was only going to be about 6 months before. So what has happened now? Just in the past 6 months? Not too much. I mean, well, it's gone up from the March. It's rallied super hard. How hard? It's like 45% up. It's huge. And this is the thing where, as far as I know, this has never happened right before a presidential election comes through. There's never been something so insane like we had here in March that has happened right before election, unless it was way, way back in the day. I don't even know. Someone let me know in the comments. But that's what's going to add to this, and I think make this even more interesting. So I think if we average what usually goes on right before the president gets in, we might see like 3%, 3 to 6% change. I mean, not much. This time, though, I think it's going to be a little bit different. People say things don't change, and they're always... I tell them to show you a chart that looks like what we had back in here in March, right before an election before. And then show them let's see some headlines that you can compare to what we have now and what's going on. The only thing I can think of is like the 60s, Stuff was kind of nuts then, the protesting, they were like, taking the big fire hydrant water and spraying people down the street, pepper bombing the heck out of them. But was it as bad then as it is now? I don't know. Someone else is going to have to let me know down in the comments. Let's bring this down to daily chart, see if this tells us anything here about what's going on. So what do we see here? I see a big, massive, upside down Wu-Tang, big old McDonald's arch here. It's kind of a reverse head and shoulders, let's call it. Here's the news of it. Technically, we need to stay above the middle of the McDonald's arch, which is about 320. And as long as we stay above that, we're technically not in I would call it a big bear market. But as we all know, we can get some pretty gnarly drips overnight. Like back over here, big old drips, back over here. Even the past week, dude, look at these big old drips. That would easily take us back down below 320. If we get down to 320, I'm also going to be watching this right here. This purple line I have set up. If you haven't seen my how to chart video, check those out. I have the purple set to the 200-day moving average. What I'm getting at, we could bounce through the 320 and smack this moving average at about 319, just call it 319, and then reject back up. I'm going to call it and say, let's wait until we're even past that, though, to fully confirm we're in bear. If you've got some sort of play going on with SPY or inverse ETFs or whatever, use these All right. Or wait for those to take entry, or, like a lot of people I know, possibly me included, I already have some inverse ETFs that I'm already sitting on just as hedges for everything. Sometimes they're up, sometimes they're down, but when those stocks go down, they go up. They're just kind of hanging out, doing their thing, doing what they're supposed to, protect the money, right? What happened the past couple days? So we had this big bleed down, but look what happened. We got ourselves another gap. And as y'all might know, gaps tend to really like to get filled again. So we could see another rally maybe by the end of the week, or maybe starting next week, that will try to refill this gap here, taking us up to, let's call it like 338.50. From there, if we keep breaking to like 339, we could start heading up to all-time highs again, but I don't know. What also isn't giving me too much clarification of any sort of terminal long-term bull at any time coming soon is we still haven't broke these previous real all-time highs at the 357. We came down, did the M, came back up, but we didn't hit it. We didn't hit it. I was actually thinking that they would do it. I was thinking they'd break it and then totally fake everyone out and then just trickle all the way down to the basement floor. But I don't know. Does anyone think we're going to try to break the all-time highs again to really fake everyone and trap all the bulls to crazy and then head down? I don't know. I think this is a fantastic week to be in the stock market and just be able to be in the middle of it. And it's just real interesting to me. What do you guys think is going to happen? What do you think? I think we're going to bleed out a little bit. And I think by the end of the week, what are we at? I mean, are we at Wednesday or Thursday? We're at Thursday, Friday. I think it'll end down, possibly Monday, pop up, maybe try to refill this gap next week, and then it's going to continue down. I don't think we're going to try to hit all-time highs again, at least in the next, 3 to 6 months or something like that. But you never know. We definitely could. This pink line here, this is election time. This is when we're going to start finding out who is really going to take the new chair. The decision should be made then. There is some stuff I post on Twitter that I can't talk about on YouTube because they don't like it. So if you want to check that out, just some other news going on with Walmart. I think it's good to be aware of that. Take a look at that and let me know. Also, just pay attention to these moving averages. If we go back into time, you'll see how these moving averages really are riding, right? The 20-day, which I have as this red, it just likes riding right above it. Riding right above it, riding right above it. For the most part, it's usually right above the 20-day moving average. I mean, look how easy this was. So just ride it all up, ride it on up. Easy, easy, easy. But look where we've been since March. It's just been jacked. I mean, we did finally get above it. We're riding smooth until we had the little Hulk flick. We had that little Hulk flick here and flicked us down a little bit, but it would be interesting if we can come up and start consolidating. I just don't see it, man. I just don't. The only thing pulling real numbers right now is the fangy stuff, right? The pure digital plays. Everything else is just an absolute disaster, if we're being honest with ourselves. Come on. If you are in plays right now, I would definitely suggest something that's slightly protected, if not like bottom floor common SPACs. If you don't know what those are, check out my other videos. Talk about SPACs all the time. Basically, I have a floor around, let's call it $10-ish. Probably not going to go too much lower than that. So if you're going to be in something, you might want to get into something like that. I definitely suggest getting into some inverse ETFs that are going to go up when stuff goes down. If you want more information on that, I got a video on what to do when the stock market is going down. So watch that if you want to take a look at those. Other than that, some Bitcoin exposure maybe, but it's still not hedging like people perceive that it would, or people talk about that it would. Same with silver and gold. It's always good to have some exposure to that, but it's just been such a lame duck lately, man. It would still be good to have some exposure though, like the Mara and Riot. Other than that, what are we looking at? I don't know. I think cash is a darn good place to have your money, because it is still a place to have money. It's still just a currency. It's still the worldwide currency, USD. If you can get some of that right now, it's still top dog. It might not be a bad place to have, I'd say at least around like 50% cash right now. And I'm just telling that to you to be your best friend. You know, this is not a time I would be making big old penny stock bets and going all in on anything. Because as we know, even if numbers and everything seems cool to you, and even the numbers are, it doesn't mean something's going to go up, especially nowadays. So just protect yourself. I just want to kind of put this out. I don't want to do like a, I don't want to be known as the fear and doom and gloom guy, but I'm just trying to be your buddy and be like, you know what, just tighten up, protect yourself. We got like a week until the election thing's pretty much sewed up, tied up. When is it, man? It's a weekend or something? It's getting pretty close, And just look at the past, people are talking that in the past elections don't do anything. They kind of do. Showing back here with the Obama one. When Bush was finally getting booted. Look at this. All right. If you want to look it up, it's around October of 2008. Show them what was going on there. How big was this drip from a year post that? 57, 58% drip. 57% drip. Whoa. Zoom back out here. And what have we had since March now? So can you see that? It's about the same. We've already had a drip post from March, but that wasn't specifically for the election, but neither was the last one necessarily. But they're both about 58%. It's pretty darn interesting. I also have these, these about 45-degree angle lines here too that we broke out of coming down because we were in this channel for SPY. It definitely broke bear for them, so they're in the bear. But again, just watch this gap here, watch it get up here, try to fake out and then slam down. But again, just watch this coming down. Watch about the 320 to 317 or something. Just hold on to your stuff. And y'all be careful. Any other plays you want me to take a look at or any other news that we definitely need to pay attention to, let me know in the comments. We've got a Patreon too. If you wouldn't mind joining, it definitely helps out the channel. So y'all have a good rest of the day and take care.
Did you know that we give away free silver? Simply leave a comment on the video, and as long as you're in the continental United States, you can be automatically entered to win. Please friend us on Twitter and StockTwits.